team, I would like to extend my gratitude and thanks to all the panelists for today. And I would also like to thank the audience, which comprises mostly of current students and also alumni for taking out time for the event. So before we start, I just wanted to talk a bit about the Alumni Speak series. So you would be seeing the slides now, but yeah, just to give you an idea. So, I mean, we all know that alumni form such an important part of any college, and in our endeavor to improve the knowledge and improve the knowledge exchange between the current students and the alumni, we started this series. And the open house is a format wherein some panelists who are alumni are a part of a discussion, and the students can ask questions very informally. So before we dive deeper, I would urge the students to not be hesitant, and feel free to ask anything that you wanted. That you want to ask to the alumni, because I feel it's a great opportunity that we are getting all the three alumni in the same room for an hour. Obviously, they have also gone through the same journey as you all have gone through. So yes, it will be good. I mean, if I were in your place, I would love this opportunity and utilize it to the best of my abilities. So feel free to ask any questions. No question is a silly question. Just raise your hand. We also got some questions on Slido, which we'll be discussing. But yeah, so just to speak a bit about the mission and vision of Alumni Speak series. So we intend to use the collective expertise of our alumni who are at very important positions around the world. And our goal is to increase the awareness about relevant areas of interest to the current students. So the intention is to go one step further from what you learn at IET, which is equally important, but also just to get an understanding of how the market is functioning, what skills you need to augment, and what skills are currently in demand in the market. And we, in terms of our vision, we want to make the current student more reliant and aware in such areas. This would give you a flavor of what are the key skills that you need to develop, and thus it will help create more avenues for you. Now, a little bit on the sessions. So as discussed, there are two formats of the session. One is the open house like today. Second format is the individual talks, wherein we ask any alum who's basically a subject matter expert on topics to speak, and that's more of a detailed session. The frequency is once in 2 weeks. So this is the first event. The next event would be most likely on the fourth Saturday. So we intend to do it on second and fourth Saturday. Timing would remain same, 9:30 p.m. And some of the example of topics and like some of the topics that we want to cover is one related to software skills, CV writing, interview preparation, career planning, preparation of exams like UPSC, GATE, GMAT, CAT. We would invite alumni who fit with these skills and topics, and there would be separate panel discussions and talks on that. So without much ado, I would then ask our alumni to maybe introduce themselves. Yeah, so we can start with Bandana Sinha ma'am, and then maybe Avinash sir and then Hitesh sir can introduce themselves.
Thank you. This is a very good effort from all of you young alumni out of the institute and college people who are still in college. Wonderful initiative on bringing us all together. It is not only a one-way learning from us to you. We also continually learn back from all of you and the experiences that you share. So wonderful to be here. I am Bandana Sinha. I've done my BTech from IET Lucknow in 89. I passed out in 89. I have done an MBA in healthcare after that, and I underwent an executive grooming for senior management in 2007 at a Tata Group. It's at a TMTC Pune. where it was conducted by CK Prahlad, one of the finest people in the management that I came across, and have learned a lot from there as well. Uh, it, when I came out of IET, I joined Uptron India Limited, one of the things that was available in Lucknow at that point in time. And it was more like, because it is Lucknow, go and join there, while there were other offers. But it was a beautiful experience. And what I learned at Uptron, while it is no longer a flourishing company right now, I think it gave a wonderful platform and a very intelligent piece of learning there in compiler, in control systems and things that are even rare skills even till today. Anyway, I moved out from there into TCS, which was a small branch at Lucknow at that moment. Grew there for around 10 years, and by 2000, I was the resident manager. And I was the first, I became the first lady resident manager for a branch of TCS. It was a small branch, but still I considered myself to be the CEO of that branch and really enjoyed working at that branch, trying to bring the branch to fruition. From that place, because it was a small branch and people did not expect too much, and whatever we did, we put in so much zeal and enthusiasm there that it became visible across TCS. And I got that opportunity to be offered the role of the CIO for TCS immediately after that in 2000, with about 15 years, or small 2002, 2003, somewhere around that time. And I lapped up the. I was very frightened, after handling a branch at Lucknow, which was about 1,000 people at that time, to becoming the CIO of TCS. It was a huge leap. This was the second leap. Uptron I consider as my first leap after IET, where the learning was a burst of learning on the technology side. Then, when I took up this role of CIO and I moved to a different city, it was a new city, it was a new role, it was a significantly, wider operations than what I was used to doing. But it was a huge burst of learning, not only in technology. That was the time that I learned what it means to handle relationships, what it means to, nurture partners, vendors, how to manage internal conflicts. So it was a huge learning in diplomacy in things for me. Not that I did a very great job there. I made my blunders. I learned the hard way, but it was an immensely learning time for me. I also want to say, after that, the next leap that I had immediately after that, I went into a $1 billion program for TCS. And at that time, TCS itself was 2 billion, and this program alone was $1 billion program. And there were three of us, handling sections of it at that moment. But I learned how, first I learned technology. As I said, that technology is great. If I know that, I know everything and I'm the best guy out there. Then I learned what relationships and how relationships and the CIO role mattered. Until this point, I had only seen an expanding TCS in a world. So it was, very, very rich learning in this. But when I went to this large $1 billion program, then I saw how your ethics can waver if you are dealing with a very huge amount of money. And it's not ethics in the pure monetary sense, but what is right, what is wrong, the determination of that in your mind, how it changes. And I was very, very glad I was with an organization like TCS, which put work ethics, professional ethics, financial ethics, everything first, and we were able to identify with that. So that was a extremely good learning. After a lot of other things, I came back and did taxation program for India. And all the learnings that I had in the past, I had to keep it aside and learn afresh on how to deal with the government, how the government, we think the government is not doing this, that, how the government people are striving to do the best for their countrymen. And it is many a times each of our country people who are thwarting the efforts of the government in many of the places. So that was another one huge learning for me. Enjoyed the journey throughout, and currently I'm in Mumbai, leading. I decided, okay, what next to do after this? I have done enough of this. Where should I land? Where I can use my experience, past experience, as an asset, and yet create a space for myself. And then I chose analytics and insights, which was a new division being set up there, and entirely new. The entire world is opening up to these technologies, and everyone is new. So me also new after my 30 years of experience would be good enough, and I can leverage on my experience and build that in. So then I've entered this data sciences and analytics space in the last 2 years, and currently based in Mumbai and leading the delivery for life sciences, healthcare, and public services, all the domains, all three domains, which I really love and have past experience in. So it is both a capitalization of my experience and my venture into the new system. It's been interesting, and it's been immensely invigorating. Okay, and I think what we've learned at IET really helps us in take every next step forward. So what we learned at IIT were not the courses, not just the individual. I excel this, and everybody has the same level playing field. Everyone has the same paper, gives the same exam, and then you have to excel there. Of course, that is one of the things that we need to do. But from each of our professors, Dr. Nirjar, Dr. Tripathi, Anurag Sinha, Professor Bhatt, Dr. Bajpayee, from each of these people, we learned different traits. And I think it is those traits that have lived with us today versus the topics and the syllabus that we learned there. So individual excellence, definitely. We for the first time, after in a school or college, we have at school level we had moderately the same level of family backgrounds and similar kinds of by and large people studying there in the school. But this was the first time in IIT that we met an eclectic group of people, rich from all kinds of diversified backgrounds, on barely making it to college, beauties, brains, talented, extremely talented. I mean, in whatever field you say. And this bringing together that IIT did and put us all on a common platform, I think what I've learned there of that empathy, that understanding which people can bring in is immense. And that's something that I think no other place can teach us the way IIT taught us. And the other thing was the sports and competitiveness that we started on multiple things. We created, that first encore that we have, that annual functions, the naming of the function, the fact that we should have functions, the fact how it should be done, sports and competitions there that were organized with the efforts, all beautiful. And these are initiatives which have taught us not to be, to keep trying new and new things, whatever we want to do. And that individual excellence has to be with these group and collective thoughts, collective ideas, which needs to take us forward as a team together. And that has stayed with us. And as an advice, last but not the least, I would say just be fearless. Go ahead and try what you want to do. You realize when you really want to do something, the entire world joins in to help you there. And even if you don't succeed, so what? You tried and you did you will not have that regret that you have not tried something. So just be fearless, go out and do. So that's all that I would want to say. Over to you, Divya.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. That was very inspiring. And of course, yeah, I mean, like, given your experience, we all can, we all can gain a lot, both from a personal side and also professional side. Thanks again. So I would now ask Avinash sir to introduce himself. But before that, just a polite request to everyone. It would be great if we can see your beautiful faces. So if you can turn your videos on, it would be great. We know that virtual setting is always tough, but this is great. If you can, if possible, if you can turn your videos on, it'll be good for everyone. Over to you, Avinash sir.
Thank you, Divya. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Vandana ma'am. It's always an honor to hear from senior people like you. My name is Avinash, and I'm from 2007 batch electrical engineering from our alma mater, and I'm 2012 batch of Indian Foreign Service officer. So after finishing my college, I joined your prestigious organization, TCS, and I happened to work there for around 29 months. Subsequently, I got selected in 2011 with All India rank 136. In the interregnum, I got to work with Indian Agricultural Research Institute for around 3 months. So first and foremost, I would like to give you all a brief about Indian Foreign Service, which majority of you would be knowing about IAS and other services, but IFS is not as much known as our other personalized services of Government of India. So, as some of you would be knowing, there are two core generalist services of Government of India. One is IS, which deals with affairs inside the country, and second is IFS, which deals with affairs outside the country, including the international relations. So, compared to other services, we are a very small cadre. The number is roughly, if we include those who come from the feeder cadres, it's around 1,000. And at times, there have been discussions on whether this is an appropriate number given the aspirations of India and the clout of India. But I won't like to digress into that. To sum up, we are a small cadre, and our cadre controlling authority is Ministry of External Affairs. But that should not be construed as if we are only posted with the Ministry of External Affairs. We have posts in other ministries as well, including Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Petroleum, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Uh, at the same time, we also have a post in Department of Atomic Energy, and I would like to underscore that at this point of time, four IFS officers are deployed with the Prime Minister's office, including the PS to Prime Minister. Vivek sir, he's from IIT Bombay. He's also an IFS officer. So in states, we get to work in regional passport offices and branch secretariat, and also we go on deputation to various state governments. So this all is only one third of our total cadre strength. Two-thirds at any point of time is posted abroad in missions and posts, which in common parlance are called embassies, high commissions, and consul generals. And there we get to do various sort of works, which include political work, economic and commerce related work, consular affairs related work, which is more about visa, passport, issuance of OCI cards. Here again, I would like to bust a common myth. The embassies are not only uh, uh, they are not only IFS officers deployed in embassies. We have people from other departments of Government of India also, depending upon the sort of relation that we have with a particular country. We have people from Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Railways, Department of Atomic Energy. It all depends upon the sort of collaboration that we have a particular country. So, regarding my current role, I am deployed as Deputy Chief of Protocol in the Ministry of External Affairs. I returned from Paris after having spent 7 years abroad. Prior to being deployed here, I was in Paris, and before that, I was in High Commission of India, Islamabad, and before that, I was in Paris, where I learned my common compulsory foreign language, which was French. While in Pakistan, I got to deal with important issues like that of Kulbhushan Yadav. I also got to manage the 113th Permanent Indus Water Commission meeting. And in Paris, I handled press information and culture and also consular affairs. In the current role, I mean, I would like to give you a structure of the protocol division. I mean, the division is headed by Chief of Protocol, who is a senior Joint Secretary level officer, and four of us, Deputy Chief of Protocol, so we assist him, and our work is to manage the visits of President, Vice President, Prime Minister, and also we cater to the requirements of various embassies which are based here. I mean, I won't like to get into the legal terms, but we implement the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations as well as Vienna Convention of, on consular relations here in India. So, regarding key learnings from IET, I mean, I'd be candid because I can afford to be with all of you. I was not much into studies, so I prefer to hang out with my friends, and I was much into sports, and yes, I had to pay a price for that. I mean, it took around 3 years for me to realize that what I actually wanted to do. But yes, the pressure which under which we had to work at IIT, I mean, meaning 6 months syllabus we have to complete in one night. So that I mean, jokes apart, yes, I mean, an engineering degree gives you that analytical bent of mind. We are more into like deadlines, and that's very fruitful when it comes to deliver even in context of. My advice in general to my juniors here that I mean, please think twice before finalizing your vocation. Don't go under peer pressure. I mean, give a detailed thought to it. And once you have finalized that this is something which I have to do, go for the utmost. I mean, don't hesitate. I mean, go ahead and do it. That's all I had to say. I think this was the biggest introduction that I have given so far. But before resting my soliloquy, I would once again like to thank the IET Lucknow Alumni Association, particularly Chitransi sir, Shivam sir, and to Divya for having me here. And I am quite privileged and honored to share this dais with people like Bandana ma'am and also Hitesh, who are bringing laurels to the institute, and so good. Thank you all.
So super interesting, and I mean, like, yeah, just on a lighter note, I can totally echo in finishing 6 months in one night because I was also like that. So I mean, like, we used to take guides from the Lopstop KPH guides and used to mug everything up. But yeah, I mean, totally great experience at IT. And just for everyone's information, Avinash sir does a lot of interesting stuff. I met him a couple of times in Paris when he was part of the Embassy of India in Paris, and the discussions that he used to have with his fellow colleagues and also people from other, people from other high commission like US, etc. Very interesting. So, I mean, I said definitely when we are going to have a session dedicated on UPSC, we would definitely like to invite you, like, you know, so that you can give advice in detail to the current students and they can benefit. Great. So now I would like to invite Hitesh sir for a few words.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Divya. So first of all, thank you very much to the IET Alumni Association, Chitransi sir, Divya, and others for having me here. Really, as Bandana ma'am said at the start, this is lifelong learning, and I'm really glad that we are able to get, you know, us all together, and let's hope we can keep on doing this more and more. I'm really looking forward to that. Secondly, really amazed to hear about the inspirational journeys of Bandana ma'am and Avinash sir. Very different and very inspirational to see how you have gone through and learned and grown in your respective areas. So I would start to share about myself. I'm right now, so my name is Hitesh. I'm passed out of IET in 2008 as chemical engineer, did my BTech from IET. Post that, I actually went to IIT Bombay to do masters in chemical engineering. And that was actually in 2010 when I passed out. And as part of that, actually, I got the opportunity through campus placements to go in for some of the top organizations that were coming from recruitment. And that is how I got entered into the pharma industry. That was definitely an area of interest for me. And as part of the IIT recruitment process, I was able to participate and get selected into a global technical leadership program, which was actually set up in a way by the organization to be able to groom future leaders. And that program in itself entailed going across different parts of the organization, across different regions in the world, and really being able to learn more about operations and supply chain. So that's how my journey into the professional space started. I started from India as part of that program in Ankleshwar for 6 months, but then moved on to Marburg, Germany, followed by Liverpool in UK, and eventually in North Carolina in US. So this program was around 2 years, and that actually gave me from the start a very good opportunity to experience multiple aspects and functions of the value chain and the operations when it comes to vaccines manufacturing. That's where I was part of. So really having the opportunity to learn through hands-on experience in the manufacturing and on the shop floor, while also having the opportunity to take on challenging change assignments was how I learned in the first 2 years. And I really believe that has stayed on with me, because through those 6 months assignments, having the opportunity to make a tangible difference for the organization paved actually the opportunity and opened up more opportunities for me. And that's how, once I saw different parts, manufacturing, strategy, supply chain, engineering, I decided that I would want to go more into knowing how the business is being run. So wanting to really get more into supply chain and strategy space. That led to me moving actually to US and being based in US and North Carolina, part of a global supply chain organization with Novartis. And my focus was really looking at the global supply chain, but on the operational excellence side. So how do we actually drive improvements across our supply chains? And through that journey, I completed my Six Sigma Black Belt certifications and eventually got promoted to lead the overall operational excellence program for Novartis vaccines division. So this was around 2015 when actually the acquisition happened of Novartis vaccines by GSK Vaccines, which is actually headquarters in Brussels. Now, actually, I saw that as an opportunity. Me and my wife, we said, you know, we don't have any specific roots in US. Why don't we, you know, explore an opportunity in Europe? And if we get good opportunities, and through that acquisition and merger, I wanted to also make further switch in my career, and wanting to get now more into management space and general management. That's how I actually left supply chain and got into leading or setting up a function of at that time 250 people, called Manufacturing Science and Technology. So this was really looking at how do we improve our manufacturing robustness when it comes to vaccines. And my specific role was to really set up the function, working with the leadership team, because it was a new function that was created, and also really focus more on the project management, quality and risk management space. So through that, got the opportunity to first set up that function, but then set up actually an organization that I was leading, focusing on the aspects I mentioned, and really develop that capability in the organization, develop that capability in the team and drive the overall development of the organization when it comes to the project management space. So through that learning, and as it was also highlighted, maybe just to share a bit, one pivotal point that I see in my career, which helped me realize a bit more on my leadership side and what I am capable of and what I need to learn more. And that actually happened while being in this role. I was asking for more from the management, that I can do more, give me something challenging. Through that, actually, an opportunity came up, which was leading a crisis that unfortunately happened in one of our sites in India, actually. So I was in Belgium, but got the opportunity to do this crisis management, being the site on the lead for 4 months. And that was a true reflection point for me, because that helped me understand what my skill sets are, how I can leverage them more, and what I need to learn more. This was really focusing on leading the site through the crisis and eventually restarting manufacturing. All that and supply, all that experience made me realize more and more that I actually need to get into roles which will bring me closer to the customer. That's how I actually made the switch into the role that I am now, responsible for leading overall the global customer service organization of GSK vaccine supply chain, which is actually then the responsibility of delivering about 7 billion pounds worth of business. We have about 40 products across more than 150 countries. And my responsibility basically entails managing that supply across the entire globe. So learning continues. I'm really enjoying this specific challenge, because in this I also had the opportunity to do a complete organizational turnaround. At the same time, really also shape at the global vaccines level, how do we differentiate our supply chains, as one size does not fit all. So really that learning continues. I'm now exploring how I further shape my career into the customer facing space, but that journey continues. I'm now living in Brussels with my wife, and I have a small daughter, 16 months. So really enjoying this phase of life. In terms of my learnings from IET, so clearly learnings from an academic perspective, and also from professors, all that was there. But I also fully agree with Bandana ma'am. I think you highlighted that the learning that you get so by having a diverse group together. So before IET had gone out of home, I was actually I studied a bit in Kota as well. So that was further building on that experience. And the most important thing that I believe the IET gave me was really opening more on the leadership side of me, because through IET, I was able to venture more into the social areas, like, for example, dramatics and how we work in that space, how I learned in that space, and how I opened up in that space, which was not something that I was used to before. My advice to all the juniors who are looking forward to how to go about their careers, I think two things. So one is really take time to think through what you want to do, long run, right? Long-term aspiration, and do not limit yourself. Be bold and courageous on that. It's very difficult because when you want to think long-term, you need to learn and know what are the different aspects or avenues out there for you. And I think this is very important that we all need to do, because I feel when I was in IET and I joined in chemical engineering, I think with many of people, everyone wanted to go for CS, IT, those were the top branches. But actually, when you live through and you see the importance of each and every branch, depending on where you want to go, is what I think is pivotal for all of you to understand, because that will take you more farther. So those are really the two aspects: be bold and courageous, and take time to think of what that long-term aspiration is that you want to actually go towards, and then build your plan towards that. Thanks a lot.
Great. Thank you so much, Hitesh sir. And another fun fact to the group: Hitesh sir's wife, Gargi Mishra ma'am, was his batchmate chemical engineering at IIT, also his batchmate in MTech, IIT Bombay. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
he
that,
learns.
that that's
So,
that's what IET gave as well.
so he learns more at IIT than others.
Exactly. And coincidentally, they were also together for the first job at Novartis after MTech. So, yeah. So, and now you all would be wondering who this guy is, who is acting as a moderator without introducing himself. But yeah, first I wanted to give this opportunity to my seniors. So, my name is Divya Tyagi. I'm based out of Munich, Germany. I work as a strategy consultant with Siemens Advanta Consulting. Before Munich, I was in Paris for 2 years doing my MBA from HEC. I also have another MBA from IMT Ghaziabad, India. And yeah, I worked across operations and consulting with companies like Larsen and Toubro, Tata Motors, Accenture, PwC. I was a part of the theater team at IET Josh, and it's an honor and privilege to have some of my seniors from IIT Josh. I have Amit Ranjan Chitranshi, sir. I have Pushkar Tripathi, sir. I have Hitesh Sahni, sir. So yeah, these were my seniors at IIT Josh as well. So that's yeah. So that's another fun fact. And good. So I'm program coordinator for Alumni Speak series. And yes, I would be conducting future sessions as well, along with great support from the whole Alumni Association, Shivam sir, Shashi sir, everyone in the IET Lucknow Alumni Association, both in the core team and the advisors. So yeah, thank you so much for, thanks so much everyone for the introductions. I would also like to thank some of the faculty members who have joined us. I have Neelam ma'am. I also had other people. And before we jump into the questions, um, I would, I would like to probably invite Neelam ma'am to speak a few words, if she can, about the initiative or in general. Um, so, over to you, Neelam ma'am.
Good evening, all. As
Hi,
the
ma'am.
time zone of India, it's around 10 p.m.
Yeah, it's late.
So I'm very happy to see these faces after a long time, especially Bandana, Divya, many names. I just remember that their faces also. So it's a good start, and our students should take benefit of it. I hope the series will continue and keep guiding our younger students. One thing I want to share here, that another feather is about to add to the IET, that is um, this autonomy, the second phase of autonomy we may get, because on 18th and 19th the team is visiting to our college, and if there is someone from 10 or 11 batch or 12 batches here, in presence of you all, we got the first autonomy in 2012. So if some of you are here from that batch, it's again a time where we'll get that autonomy second time. So it is again a great elevation in the status of college. So we are NB accredited, we'll be again autonomous second time, and then we are trying to go for NAC also. So with the support of our alumni and the present student and naturally the faculty and all, IT is doing good. And yes, I remember Josh. I remember Josh, all those dramas, Divya. I remember
Yeah.
all the dramas and all those time when you people have started what was the name of the cultural fest?
Encore.
Antragni
What
and
was the
all,
name of the?
Antragni and all.
Yeah,
Uh, you have
Antaragni,
started. That have
Kalrav.
started.
Yeah.
So keep showering your blessings as well as your experiencing. Share your experience with your juniors. It's going to help them. And one more thing I want to share here, that in alumni, in this autonomy visit also, there is a great role, big role of alumni. So we may, or our other faculty may connect you to have some of your information, some of your datas, where you people are. I am
Sure.
connected to many of you, either via Facebook or some LinkedIn or something like that. But this formal linkage is not very much there. So
Mhm.
that is needed, and this series is going to be very much helpful in that direction. So my blessing will always be with you all. Uh, Continue with your alumni this program, IETLAA series. So my best wishes and good luck to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Neelam ma'am. And I should tell you that all what we did, even at Dramatic Society or Choreo or Singing Society, was never possible without the support of faculty members like you, who have supported us throughout. And so, yeah, we would like to express our gratitude to you as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, at present I am chief warden. I'm a female and I'm a chief warden of all those 12 and 13 hostels. Because when I returned from my directorship, then Paliwal told, now you were director. So there is nothing like male or female. So take the
Exactly.
charge of chief wardenship. So at present I'm taking the charge of, I'm looking after chief wardenship also.
Yeah.
And in this pandemic and all, there is a lot of challenges which is coming up in college also. So
Yep.
pray that everything remain now. It should be now settled. So
Yep.
many months have already gone in such a traumatic way.
Yep. Yep. Ma'am. Yep. Yeah, I totally agree.
Joined, I joined quite late. I was having my dinner, so Hitesh, I just listen your last part of your speech. But next one, I will be listening what you are sharing to all of us. Thank you so much
Sure,
again.
ma'am. Thanks. Thanks. Great. So now, in the interest of time, let's jump to the questions, and also just to let everyone know that I mean, we can also, if some people are available, maybe if the panelists are available for maybe 15 more minutes after the scheduled closing time, we can also extend this session and also take your questions offline. I mean, like the questions that we have. So we have received some questions on Slido. So first question is, and I mean, any of the alums can pitch in because it's a very general, I mean, it's a very important question and not specific to any domain. So I study hard to maintain a good GPA. What's the most important skill other than academics that will help me succeed in corporate life? So maybe Banda ma'am, if you can take this question very briefly, we can answer this. It would
Hmm.
be great.
Okay. So, what is success is different for each of the people. But what I could understand was at different points in time, we have different goals, different priorities, and different things that we say is successful, means success for me in that corporate life. One of the things that I personally benefited from, and I think all of us should have, is a good mentor. Please identify a mentor who can help you. And this is not only an alumni mentor, inside the corporate mentor, inside your spheres mentor, who can help you in deciding your long term goals, where or what you should, who can be your bouncing board if something good or bad has happened at a corporate, and will help you give that balance in a corporate life that is very much required. So my first thing was, the ability to find a network of people who will be with you, who can guide you, who can be with you through your journey, as well as show you the way, not only with
Okay.
your peer level, at your senior level, at all levels, in fact. And that is a very, very good skill to get right now. When you socialize right now, you develop those bonds, you keep it for long. That networking really helps. That mentors really helps. The
Great.
one more quick thing I want to point out is, in a corporate life, you've got to distinguish yourself from millions of others who would be there, who are equally good or maybe better than you in many of the things. So if you've read that First Among Equals, how are you how do you put yourself as a distinguish one from the others, or at the same time follow the passion that you want to do, is an art where you have to be happy within yourself, you have to be contented, and you have to be, there has to be no fear in your mind. Again, this is the second time I'm talking of fearfulness, but even when you do a role, when you do any work, that fear that I may not succeed, or somebody else may view me like this, that all that has to be taken off. So these are traits, not skills, but traits that you would have to develop to do well in corporate life. Hitesh, you and Avinash can add, please.
No, I fully agree with what you said, Bandana ma'am. I mean, I think just building on what you highlighted from my perspective, being having that ability to understand also, while you are continuing in your day-to-day job, where the opportunities lie and how you can actually really bring overall more value, right, to the organization or to what you're doing, and to the sphere of influence around you, is, I think, is really pivotal and what differentiates you as you grow. And that's where very important to not shy away from challenges, because that's how we all learn, right? So if going through those challenges and being able to actually deliver through the challenges is how we could actually grow more faster. So I think that's just my personal reflection and personal learning that I just wanted to highlight.
Great. And Avinash, sir, maybe briefly,
Other than what Bandana ma'am and Hitesh said, I think certain things are universal, irrespective of the sector, whether it's private sector or government sector. I think maintaining good communication in the team where you are, and beyond the team also. I mean, making a good network is very important if you want to deliver. So if you can leverage your skills to establish good network, I mean that's going to help you all across. So
great.
and I think that's universal. I hope both of my college mates would conquer to that.
Yeah, agree.
Great. And great, thank you. The next question is from Anubhav, and I think this maybe is more specific for Hitesh sir, or Banda ma'am, or both. As a student trying to build a career in IT industry, does GATE or GRE make a difference? So maybe, and this person is, I guess, not from CS or IT. Yeah. Okay. So maybe Hitesh sir or Banda ma'am, if you can just pitch in.
I mean, I would leave it to Banda ma'am specifically on the IT part, if that's where she would want to share her perspective, and then I can highlight more on the which avenue to take, right? GATE, GRE. I can build a bit on that.
Yep.
See, the IT industry per se, today, there was a time when, industries were divided. You had this manufacturing, medical, this. Today, it is all merging from the boundaries, and IT is pervasive across anything and everything. You talk of which industry, the industry model, the way the industry works, the way anything and everything works is getting IT seeding itself into. So we are in a very unique position if you have a IT background, or if you can acquire some of these IT skills. We are in a very, very unique situation for the next 5 years to leverage both IT and our core skills. Okay, and that is you have to do a little bit of search on where and how to do specifically so that you can continue with your industry as well as IT. But IT is a given, whatever industry you want to continue these days. And hence, all as students, now today, this generation has been born with IT there, and it has grown up learning IT. So what we learned as formal courses, this generation, all of you are actually learning at school. So, there's no question of now learning Python and XYZ data sciences in college. You are doing it in school, you are trying it out in your way. So what IT is now bringing in and will bring in for you all will be formalization of your utilization of domain plus IT together. Don't only remain IT, domain plus IT, that is where the world is going, and your different varied backgrounds carry it along with you when you do any of the IT stuff there. So over to you, Hitesh.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. I mean, from my perspective, on the second part of it, right? So what makes a lot of difference? So this goes back to the point I made before. I think it's really important to understand what actually, specifically you want to target. So when it comes to GATE and MTech, building further again, in the IT industry, if I look at where the aspiration is, you need to look at the courses. You need to look at which institute you want to go for, because there are many institutes through which you can get MTech, and again, what sort of learning you want, right, from that institute. And this is where it does make a difference, whether it's GRE, going from doing an MS from outside, or doing an MTech from IIT, because through the right actually course and focus, if you can get into the place which will provide you that niche or that differentiated experience, then it would create a differentiating experience, or differentiating career opportunities will be available through that. So I again, as I said before, I think it's really important to go beyond what we hear when we are in college, right, through our immediate channels, because that's immediate communication or information that we receive. There's a lot out there, right, in the world, and I think in all of our spaces we just need to open that horizon. So that would be my advice.
Great. And before we resume the submitted questions, I would also like to ask if there are some live questions which people want to ask at the moment. Feel free to unmute yourself, or I mean, feel free to raise your hands and unmute yourself. Is there any question like from the audience, or should we resume with the submitted questions? Okay, so if there are no questions, then let's jump back to the list of questions. So the next question was specific to what are the career options for IT, and here maybe if you can answer, Bandana ma'am, I mean, like in general, what are the career options, though people would be aware, but then in general, what are the different fields that people can look into? And also a related question to this is also, since you have been very instrumental in in recruiting people from IIT, from your times like when you were directly coordinating the placement activities, and we can't thank you enough for that. So one would be the career options for IIT, and the second part would be also as a recruiter, what are the skills that you're looking at in the current students? So that would be a good question for you to answer.
See, as to avenues in IT, again, plethora. So, you can go in any specific field in IT. One of the things that I would say, I did my BTech and immediately got into a job and became happy and happier and left it, but definitely go for specialization. Today's world is for a specialist versus a generic program manager, and more as you enter into the next 5 years, it would be many different technologies, many ways of working, entrepreneurship that is more required versus this. understanding of the domain and understanding of how the factories could be created, or how your whatever assets you are building on can be utilized by the people. So you have to have that, marketing strength. You have to have the understanding of what could be, built, what kind of products can be thought of, built, how to take it to people. You have to have the right communication, conviction and communication, both, not only communication without substance, but that. So build in on all those, and you can get into pure IT, you can get into, chips design, you can get it into sciences, you can get into biotechnology based IT, you can get into research, any number. But I would say, as long as you build on your communication so that you can open up and talk to the world and tell them about your ideas, as long as you can correlate ideas from various streams, edges of various domains and streams, and understand that IT is there to leverage, as a leverage. It's a tool to be deployed, it's a tool to be utilized to bring your ideas to fruition. I think there is no stopping any of this. Of course, you have these entrepreneurs. You can yourself become an entrepreneur. You have these companies. Substantial number of people today are trying to open up new ventures, new ideas, and investing there. You have these mass recruiters like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, and these. You have niche companies like all the niche players in the market who are wanting to specialize only in one technology or the other, in one domain or the other. So the market is out there today. Today, I will tell you, you are a very lucky batch to be passing out into a year where there is a huge dearth and a huge demand for creative manpower. All we need is people with ideas, with passion, with a presence, who are alive to the situation and who will grasp the opportunities. Rest all gets, it's new learning, as in the way, whatever way, whichever direction you choose. So today's world is all your world. It is no longer an employer's world.
Yeah,
Okay.
good point. Perfect. Yeah, and just a quick check on the time. Could I request the panelists? I mean, because the discussions is like the discussions are getting all the more interesting. Could I request the panelists to be there for like 15 more minutes, if it works for the three of you?
It does. It does. For India, it
Great,
is a good
thanks.
time.
Thanks a lot. I would, before proceeding to the question, I would also like to thank Rajiv sir, who is there on the call. So good to have you on the call, sir. We have Rajiv Kumar sir. So yeah, thanks for taking out time, sir. So
Hey,
the
thank you
next,
so much. Vandana ma'am, great to see you after 3 years.
Thank you. Pleasure to be always with all of you.
yeah, and like, apart from Rajiv Jain sir, I also meant Rajiv Kumar sir, who is a faculty member at IIT. So good to also see you, Rajiv Kumar sir. Great. So the next question is specific to uh, to foreign services, and this definitely goes out to Avinash sir. So the question is, yeah. So the question is, how can you use your engineering education in foreign services? Does it help in doing your job?
So, one of the important part of our portfolio is enhancing the technological cooperation between two countries. And as you know, devil lies in details. The more you know about technology, the more you would be able to get for your country from a foreign country. To give some examples, there's this famous ITIL project wherein many countries are cooperating. It's being executed at the border of France and Switzerland, and we have stakes of countries like China, Russia, US, and I mean it's a mechanism to generate energy in the same way as it is done as it happens in sun. So if you are engineer, if you know the subject, then you are able to understand it better and then give suggestions to your government in a more comprehensive manner. Two more examples. We have a post of IFS officers in Ministry of Defense. This is called as Joint Secretary International Cooperation. This is more about defense collaboration, wherein equipments are purchased and all. One who is having the knowledge of the subject is likely to do better and contribute to the overall national interest. At the same time, as I told during my introduction, we have a post at Department of Atomic Energy, wherein we negotiate on behalf of BARC with countries abroad. So yes, I mean, the knowledge of engineering is very helpful, and as you all would appreciate, lately in all the sectors there has been the specialization of generalists. I mean, people are supposed to know everything at the top level. At the same time, they are expected to specialize in certain domains. So if you are from an engineering background and if you want to build over that, then you have ample opportunities in diplomas. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Avinash, sir. And just for everyone's information, I'm just picking some important questions because a lot of these questions have already been answered during the introductions of our alumni. So the next question, Bandana ma'am, is for you. We know that you've had such an illustrious career, and you are also CIO for TCS. So, I mean, basically, this question is about what are what are some of the challenges, if any, that you faced as that you face as a female? And again, the question, and again, the point is, if any. So, and I mean, like, if you would like to just motivate the people on what kept you motivated, and also around some of the challenges you faced. Yeah.
Divya, you have phrased the question very politely. So in one of the discussions, one of the members there asked me, you've been there in the company for so long. So is the company too good, or are you not good enough? So, no, it is neither of the two. Neither, any company, it's so good that you don't move out, or you are so bad that you cannot move out. Neither of those situations. So when you are with an organization, any organization for that matter, if your basic ethics and principles match with that organization, you will be happy with it. So if Avinash, you're working for Government of India, and your heart, your spirit, your things match with what you want to do for the country, you will stick with it. If it was Government of Afghanistan, probably it would be a different affair, right? So when you are able to identify with the people and with the organization, what it goes out to do, when its successes are your successes, its failures are your successes, or you cry along with them in the failures, that is what keeps you together with an organization. And the other thing that I would say is, that we have, I was fortunate enough, to be in an organization which has been a growing organization. So last 30-40 years, I've seen TCS only growing and growing more and more. So in a growing organization, you have plenty of opportunities, and you can move along where the opportunities are. Go to the place where the opportunity is, rather than waiting for things to happen in the location that you belong to or the place that you are. And then every place is a different experience. I've worked and lived in multiple cities within India, multiple countries across, and not only in the developed countries like US, UK, where people want to go and work out. I have worked in language challenging countries like Vietnam, Hong Kong, Japan. these kind of places which gave a different kind of learning, different kind of challenge, different kind of exposure, and all sorts of. So basically go where the opportunity is. It might be a little difficult at times to keep swapping places, undo your house every time and go to a new place, but do, and find an organization which identifies with you, where you can where you, and the mind frame I feel is the same, and you want to do the same things for the things. So that's what keeps you in an organization, I feel. And that's what brings the motivation, because every time you are doing something, it is not you are working for the organization, you're working with the organization, you are working for your whatever goals, and for the people that your work will benefit. You're working for them, not for an organization to earn money for them. And that itself is a big motivation to take your work forward and to take things forward. Yeah. Over to you,
Perfect.
Divya.
Thanks, ma'am. Thank you so much. The next question is for Hitesh, sir. So based on your outstanding career, what will you suggest to chemical engineers at IT or from IT to find a great job in India and make a great career?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So basically, first of all, I think chemical engineering is a great space. It's not because I'm a chemical engineer and I'm saying this. I got to appreciate that also beyond IET when I went to IIT or even outside, right, in US and Europe. And one of the reasons actually is that what we learn and our skill sets are really widely applicable and actually across industries. How we're trained to see those pain points, right, and an ability to figure out how we can actually create innovations to overcome them. So in terms of opportunities for chemical engineers, there is a traditional career path, right? The traditional career path is actually working in oil and gas, basic or specialty chemicals, or pharmaceutical industries. Now, even in those industries, you have traditional jobs or areas like research, process development, production engineers, and also having responsibilities that can go more into designing processes and equipments, right, planning and testing production methods. So that's really the traditional career path that you can sort out. And actually there are numerous companies, right, which also you can get into within through colleges within India, or through working in India, because the question really specifies or ask is what opportunities are there out there in India. But the second thing that I just wanted to highlight is the demand, at least where I am and what I see around chemical engineers, is quite high. Even in the industries which are traditional industries that I mentioned, the space that chemical engineers can get into is matches or goes from really those technical areas that I mentioned, but also very easily you could position or move into more of project management or leadership space if that's of interest. So I think opportunities are a lot of opportunities are out there. It's more about what again you want your career, or which direction you want your career to take. I personally was quite amazed to see, I haven't worked in any other industry than pharmaceutical, but what I have seen in pharmaceutical industry is chemical engineers are really very much sought after, and they are doing almost all type of jobs, right, within the pharmaceutical industry. For example, I moved into completely management and supply chain or general management. So yeah, so that's what I would highlight and share from my side.
Great, thanks, Desha. I think it would be even better to get your perspectives when we plan a separate session on pharmaceutical industry. But great, thanks for that. Avinash, sir, one question to you would be, what would be your advice for the current students or for the recent pass outs from IT when they are looking at UPSC preparation? I mean, can they actually capitalize their current time at IET to maybe prepare ahead, or what would be your general advice for them?
No, no, definitely they can capitalize on whatever time they have at their disposal. See, for UPSC, you have to have a holistic understanding. You have to read everything. You can't ignore anything. There should be a thought process wherein things fit into each other. Even if you don't know the exact answer of a particular question, you should be able to know what is around that, because the syllabus is very fast. So and the students should be very observant. What are the things happening around them? They should have this interest in current affairs and what are things of importance in international domain. So they can start reading newspapers and CRT books. But at the end of it, a lot of reading has to be done, and there is no pick and choose. Like you read a particular part of the syllabus and you hope that this is going to be asked in the exam. That doesn't happen. And even if that question is asked, you won't be able to do justice to it if you don't know things around that. So do as much reading as you can do. There are certain books which are recommended. Like there's this book called India Yearbook. It's like a 1500 big book which you can use as a pillow and go to sleep. So people have this habit of approaching the coaching institutes and asking them to uh, uh, suggest particular pages which they can read, and then on that basis they'll be able to answer certain questions. So even if you read those 20, 25 pages, you won't be able to answer the questions. The organic understanding, the comprehensive understanding comes if you have read the entire book. Even if you don't remember the facts, you don't remember the figures, you would be an idea of the entire narrative. What is it about? Similar thing can be said about the economic survey. So read as much as possible. Don't be in a hurry. Go for a target-based approach. And many people would discourage you that you have to study for 18 hours, 20 hours. It's not like that. If you are able to make small targets and you are hell bent on meeting those targets, you'll soon realize that you have already started studying for 15, 20 hours. That's what I have to say the UPS for the UPS.
So thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot. So one key takeaway is just be very comprehensive in whatever you're reading. Like read it thoroughly, be it NCRT books or whatever. And second is just be observant of the issues around you. So that's great. So yeah, I think in the interest of time, it's already 7. Sorry, I just keep on mentioning about the European time. My bad. So it's already 10:47. So one last call. If there are any questions that people in the, that audience wants to ask, that would be super. That would be great if you want to ask, or we can just close the meeting now. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask. Perfect. Great. And just for the questions that are unanswered, I think there are a couple of questions. We will tackle these questions in our next talk, which would be on the 25th of September. So yeah, that's when we can handle these questions. But before we finish, I would like to thank my seniors and the panelists for today's meeting. I think it means a lot for people to benefit, especially the current students, to benefit from your experiences. Great pearls of wisdoms. Basically great pearls of wisdom shared, and I think the current students and the younger alumni can definitely take a lot out of the discussions that we had with all of you. So with this, I would like to conclude, unless there are any final comments from Avinash sir, Hitesh sir, or Bandana ma'am.
No, great to be here. Thank you for this great interaction. Really enjoyed it and look forward to more conversations with this group.
Divyab, it's a great initiative from you, Amit. All of you, I don't know many others who would be behind this. Please ensure it continues. There are a lot of people who want to do things but are not able to channelize the things that they would be able to do for the alumni. And every small or big contribution from people will make our community stronger. So our college is stronger and our community is stronger. So I think excellent initiative from all of you who are there. Can you please take the names of all the people who have been behind this to organize this and to take this forward?
Uh, I take this opportunity. Excuse me, Divya. Should I?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a pleasure to see you always. You have been the founding member of this alumni association. You sowed the seed, and see
Yes.
it is turning into a beautiful tree.
Yes. So that happens when you are from the first or second batch. You sow the seeds for everything.
I especially thank Shivam for taking all the pains and especially roping Divyap. Divyap, thank you so much. You have been doing great work. Uh, 2 months of planning has been for this beautiful show, and I think it will continue. And members or whoever have joined this session are also requested to please suggest some good speakers which can benefit our students and the alumni at large. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, especially Divya and Shivam and Shashi sir, who has mentored this whole session.
Yeah.
Yeah, before
Yeah.
I would just like to say
Yeah.
one thing, and I would like
Yes,
to
sir.
I would like to take credit of one thing. The only thing I want to take credit of is of finding Divya, and and then Divya just took to town
To
on this entire thing. So and all that's all I want to say. Like if you have partners like Divya, we can do great things, and I think this is a great first initiative for something that's going to be done for a long way. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, Amit sir and Shivam sir, for the kind words. But I would like to thank that, I mean, all of the team members, Shivam sir, Amit sir, Shashi sir. I think we all have done a great job. And our commitment to the current students and also to the younger alumni is that we will continue this going forward. Our objective is to look at the to look at the larger picture and improve step by step, giving more and more exposure to the current students, assisting them in job searches, and also more than just assisting them in job searches, making them more capable that they can be the people in demand in the industry. I think we have so much to gain from the collective wisdom of all our alumni. We all, all the alumni are such distinguished, and they're all around the globe, great positions. They have so much to offer. I would urge the current students also from next time onward, just to be more participative, because finally it's your career. You have to own it, right? We would be there, throughout your journey to support you, but just like you have to take the ownership, and we'll always be there. So on behalf of all the alumni, I would wish the current students best of luck in your career journey, in your 4 years or 3 years or whatever time you have at IET. I'm sure it's going to be a great experience, and we will always be there for you to support you. Feel free to ask any questions, connect with us on LinkedIn, etc. And yeah, and just to conclude, we will be having our next talk most likely in the last week of September. It would be the last Saturday, and then I look forward also to welcome my panelists in separate individual talks. Avinash, Hitesh, and Bandana ma'am. That would be much more focused on a specific topic. For example, UPSC preparation. For example, MTech, GATE preparation. And for Bandana ma'am, I think you can speak a lot on different types of topics. So we definitely have to have you for more than one session. because there are a lot of things that people can learn, from your experience. So yeah, thanks a lot to all the alumni once again, all the participants. Looking forward to seeing you in the next event of Alumni Speak. Right.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night, good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Cheers. Bye.